Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, and welcome to Across the Pitch. My name is Phil Kennedy, and I'm here with Tony Robinson. And today we're extremely excited because we have Accrington Stanley midfielder Ethan Hamilton getting ready to join us. It's his second season with the club. It's going to be his first time on the show. I'm really looking forward to this one, and I know you are too, Tony.
Yeah, hi, Phil. Hope you're well. Yeah, this is. I'm looking forward to this one because he's one of my favorite players, and I think the way he contributes to the team, and it's going to be interesting. We'll touch on his youth career because he comes from an academy that apparently is very fruitful, but I've not heard of before. We'll talk about his career before Stanley and his time with United. I think that's of interest. And then, I look forward to talking to him about his career at Stanley, and we'll ask him if that is to continue because he's on second year of a 2-year contract. So maybe we can find out what's going on with him there.
Yeah, and it looks like he's played for quite a few different clubs in the Manchester and Lancashire areas. And then he also spent a year with Southend and a couple years with the Posh before coming to Accrington. So he's fairly well traveled for still a very young guy at just 23 years old. So I think that Ethan has a bright future.
He signed a 2-year contract at Peterborough and then came over to us for 1 year on for an undisclosed fee. So we'll talk to him about that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Let's bring him on in, Phil.
Yeah, let's bring on Mr. Ethan Hamilton. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on what side of the pond you're on. Welcome to an extra special edition of Across the Pitch. My name is Phil Kennedy. I'm joined by my co-host Tony Robinson today. We're excited to welcome a guy who has been a mainstay in the Accrington Stanley midfield ever since coming over from the Posh last year. None other than Ethan Hamilton. Welcome to the show, Ethan, and thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all good. Are you okay, Phil and Tony?
Yeah, we're looking forward to catching up with you, Ethan, and as I say, we thank you for doing this, taking time out of your schedule, and I know the fans will be happy to hear some of your stories. And but before we get into that, obviously it was a big match last Saturday. How did you feel about the club's performance against Leeds? And what was the atmosphere in the WAM like?
Yeah, it was a great day and a great atmosphere. Obviously, we were well in the game for an hour, and it was just unfortunate that we maybe couldn't have got a goal and made it a little bit more difficult. But I think we all gave a good account of ourselves, and it was obviously a good game to be a part of and a really enjoyable atmosphere. And I think definitely hopefully there was a lot of first-time fans there for Accrington as well, because it's certainly, I think, the club showed itself of how amazing it can be.
There seemed to be a lot of good feedback from people who watched the match or were at the match, and from Leeds supporters that attended. And I think not only was it good for the club, but I think the fact that there's good feedback is a positive, and that must make you feel good as a player too, that people appreciate the product on the pitch and also the facilities.
Yeah, very much so. And also, yeah, like I said, I think we gave a good account of ourselves. And yeah, maybe we just couldn't have caused a little bit more of a challenge going into the last half an hour of the game. But and as you say, I think off the field, I think the fans would have enjoyed the day as well. And it's a good advert for the club.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, 5,000 miles away in Phoenix, Arizona, I watch all of the matches on the iFollow service, but this particular match actually was on what's called ESPN Plus over here, so it was a chance to watch a game in high definition, multiple cameras, gave some really good shots of the Accrington town. The commentators did a really good job of telling the story of Accrington. That was something I was really impressed on watching the broadcast, is that anyone who did watch, they didn't just only talk about Leeds, they actually talked more about Accrington, and it really, it was a great match on the pitch. I mean, you guys, you made them work for what they got. I mean, that first goal that they scored was like 30 yards out. I mean, it wasn't like you were giving him anything easy. And then, the last 30 minutes or so, I definitely think that you guys were the stronger side. And the first 20 minutes or so, I think you were definitely outworking him. So it was a very, very solid performance all around.
Yeah. I mean, it was, I know we were saying it was a good day, and it just shows that if we can reach that performance level for the rest of the season, and strive to get there, it'll stand us in good stead.
Let's just jump back to your career, which started up in Scotland, obviously. And when I was doing some research into this, your youth career started at Hutchison Vale, I believe, but is it now called Lothian Thistle, Hutchison Vale?
So it's still Hutchison Vale, and then it's almost the senior team is Hutchison Vale, Lothian Thistle, which it's been formed as well. But yeah, it's a really good. It's just a boys' club in Scotland, and they've had a lot of players come through their ranks at Hutchie Vale, and it was. They get you playing football the right way, and it's a good place for young kids to go and play football and meet up as well. So it was a great upbringing in football.
It was listed as a quote I read was Scotland's most fruitful academy. That's quite a notification, really. That's
an interesting little fact.
Is that how? Is that where you were when you got noticed with United, and how did that come about?
Yeah, I was there. At the time, I was there right up until I was 15, 16. And it's Tam Smith, the man that's the head of it all, and he's brilliant. He works round the clock, really. Just supporting his kids, knows every kid's name that's there, and all their stories as well. So. Yeah, he's a brilliant person, and it's a brilliant club. There's lots of good people there, and a lot of people that do it. It's just a boys' club, so it's people that just go and give up their time to put it on for kids to play football. So yeah, it's a great little club, and like I said, there's lots of Scottish players that have grown up through Hutchison Vale.
And what year? How old were you when you went to United?
I was 12, so left. First went down when I was 12, but obviously finished school in Scotland, and then came down to Man United at 15, just turning 16.
So one thing that Darren Woodhead, who's one of our other co-hosts, wanted to ask is when you went over to United, was Sir Alex Ferguson still involved at that point?
He was when I first went down at 12. I'm trying to remember the years. But it was more when I'd signed. David Moyes was there for a little bit, and then Ferguson was coming to the end when he retired. So it was obviously to go down to Man United was amazing. It is definitely a brilliant schooling in football.
Yeah, because you played in the U18s. From 2015, I believe, to 2018. And then I know I saw where in 2017 and 18 season you scored 8 goals in 23 appearances, plus you had 23 appearances in the reserves. what was that experience like for you and in your development?
Yeah, it's amazing, and obviously it's the ground and it gives you is it's almost like it sets you up to know the ins and outs of what to expect with football and teach you to work hard and yeah, it gives you a good grounding. And obviously playing through the youth ranks at Man United and putting the kit on is obviously brilliant. And yeah, like I say, it gives you a good schooling.
And then your first loan spell, you went out to Rochdale, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And then after that, you went to Southend and also Bolton. So I was just noticing, looking around your career, that first after coming down from Scotland, you had mostly played at the Manchester and Lancashire area, especially in Rochdale.
Rochdale, there you go, Phil, Rochdale.
I get that one 2 out of 3 times, right? Yeah. But anyway, so then you went to Southend. So what was it like? Going to a little bit different part of the country?
Yeah, it was a different challenge, and obviously still young at that age. So like 20 at that time, 21 maybe. Yeah, so it's good. It gives you different life experiences and different challenges that come up. Obviously, after I was living with my mum and my granny before mum moved down in Manchester. So you're moving away and kind of living on your own for the first time at that point. And yeah, it's challenges that you have to overcome. And it was yeah, all positive experiences being out on all different loans at Rochdale, Southend and Bolton, and you obviously have different challenges that come up, and it's just learning to deal with it in different scenarios and things like that. So it's all positive in the end when you face different challenges going out on loan and experiencing sort of men's football for the first time.
Yeah, because the loan you've had 3, like we said, 3 loans, and I guess each loan spell would be different, and that's all part of the development process as an individual and as a player, I guess, right? Yeah,
definitely. And it's, like I say, different life experiences as well. And obviously going to Rochdale was brilliant. Sometimes it can be difficult to get your first sort of chance in the Football League. And obviously it was Keith Hill at the time and then Barry Murphy that was the manager afterwards that they kind of gave us that opportunity. And yeah, so all different experiences being out on the 3 loans.
So when the loan spells were ended, and then your contractor ended with United, and that's when you were signed for Peterborough, I guess. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Signed at Peterborough.
And that was under. We talked about one Ferguson, and this was you signed with Darren Ferguson on a 2-year deal and played the one season with Peterborough, and you played with them during their championship season, I believe.
So it was the League One season that we got promoted, and then so it was in League One, but it managed to get promoted at the end of the season, which was positive. Obviously, it was COVID as well, so it was strange playing in sort of no crowds and things like that. But it's probably didn't play as much as you would have liked from the start and things. But it was a good experience. Obviously, managing to get a promotion at the end of it was really good.
And then during that period of time is when there was interest from Stanley, I believe, because you signed in Peterborough in August of 2020, and then a year later you were signing a 2-year deal at Stanley. Did you know there was interest from Stanley? How did that come about, and what was your experience with that?
It was just the opportunity came about to come to Accrington, and obviously just coming in play and really enjoy my football, and obviously getting a chance to play under John Coleman and Jimmy and obviously John as well, that it was just kind of a good, well, I knew it would be a good decision, but looking back at it, it's been a really good decision, and it's been probably the most enjoyable spell of a football career at the moment. So it's been really positive, and it was just an opportunity that.
So over the 3 seasons before you came to Accrington, I imagine that you had gotten several opportunities to play against Accrington and play against John Coleman and Jimmy Bell and the staff. As an opposing player, is that something that you're kind of keeping an eye on and saying, these are guys I might want to play for someday?
Yeah. And being an opposition player going to Accrington, it's always difficult. And I think the coaching staff, they probably have similar values to me, that you work hard and you put a shift in for your teammates and for the club. And it would be a good match.
I'm sure that knowing that John Coleman has been with Accrington so long, that he's not planning on going anywhere, and that you're not going to a place where you might end up with a different manager 6 weeks from now, is probably something that makes you want to sign with a place like Accrington. Yeah,
the stability gives the whole club, and that it's built on hard work. The club, and it's. You never get, whatever team comes to Accrington, you always know that every player on Accrington's team is going to give 100% for each other, and that's why it was appealing, and you want to be part of that.
The when you see somebody, as a fan, when we see the words a player brought in for an undisclosed fee, it excites us as a fan, because Stanley's not known for spending money on transfer fees to bring somebody in. And does that add pressure to you as a player, or and also did you speak to Jimmy Dunn, who you played with at United, who played for Stanley? Did you have a chat with him to get his thoughts on Stanley?
Yeah, I spoke to Jimmy. I'm good friends with Jimmy, and obviously he has nothing but good words to say about Accrington, and said that you'd fit in there perfectly. And he holds his time at Accrington in very high regard, and all the people there as well. So, no, after speaking to him as well, it was definitely a no-brainer.
So before we go too far more further into your Stanley career, we did want to ask you about your time with the under 15, under 16, under 19 team. You represented Scotland in the UEFA Euro Championships. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's good. Obviously, like 15, 16s and 19s, and it was obviously a great opportunity, and to go play against different nations and go on a trip almost to a different country to play these games were really positive. And it's all sort of builds you up, all these different experiences to try and have a good and successful career.
It must mean something to put the shirt on of the country of your birth, and I no matter what level it is, that must be a sense of pride and accomplishment, and something you look back fondly on in your career.
Yeah, definitely. I know, whatever level it is, it's great, obviously, to put the shirt on and sing the national anthem and have that pride. So, no, definitely, they were all great experiences, and it was really, really, really good times and good experiences looking back on.
One thing that you had mentioned there was the opportunity to take some trips and play in other countries. And just about everybody that we talk to who has international experience playing with some of the youth teams has brought that up, that playing in other countries is such an important part of the experience. What is it that makes that so important?
I think it's different exposure to different environments and different sort of things that you'll face, and definitely at a young age, whenever you went on trips with Man United or whether it be with Scotland, they were always probably the most enjoyable times. Yeah, obviously go to a different country, you're normally there for a week, 10 days, and obviously there with your teammates as well. So it's all enjoyable, and I think it helps to shape you as a person, and obviously as a footballer as well, having all these different opportunities at a young age.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a great experience because, like you said, you're getting to first to see what it's like to play in other countries, maybe get the atmosphere, the other stadiums. Like you said, you're playing with different teammates, meeting new people, meeting new coaches. So yeah, it just sounds like a win-win-win. But before we talk about football too much more, before the show started, I did mention that Tony has some fun questions. And this is something that it's really become actually the most popular segment on our show. It started off with just like mushy peas versus garden peas. And well, I'll just turn it over to Tony for the now world famous rapid fire.
Thanks, Phil. It's the best segment because it's the only segment we have other than the talking about football. So that's why it's the best one. Anyway, yeah. Okay. Well, he's already asked the first one. I mean, if you are having fish and chips, would you prefer mushy or garden peas?
It has to go garden.
Red or brown sauce on your bacon sandwich?
Oh, red.
Would you prefer haggis or black pudding?
Got to be haggis, isn't it?
Yep. I've had it and I enjoyed it. I've had both, so I like both. Gravy or curry on your chips?
Gravy. Got to be gravy.
Gravy. Yeah, it's a one of the four food groups in Lancashire, Phil, is gravy. You cut somebody's arm in Accrington, it's either going to bleed lager or ale or gravy. What do you have a favorite band or musician?
Probably have to go quite like Paolo Nutini.
Okay, Phil, do you know them?
I can't say that I do.
We've been stumped a couple of times. Do you have a hobby outside of? Sorry, so go ahead.
I'm not singing any songs.
Oh.
No, we don't ask anybody to sing because we know that nobody wants to hear us sing.
Who's the best singer in the changing room?
I haven't heard many singers actually. So I think Joe Pritchard's got to be good with that hair, isn't he?
Yes. Oh, yeah. With the head bopping and that hair. Yeah, absolutely.
Tommy Lee as well. Get a little band going.
Do you have, speaking of in the changing rooms, do you have any superstitions that you have prior to a match?
Not massively. No, I always kind of tuck my shirt in before I play and then take it out as I start. But no, not really. Not massive.
We're not getting too many of those, are we, Tony?
No, not as bad as Doug Tharms.
Yeah, sometimes if you'd like ate a certain thing or did a certain thing and you got a good result, you probably do it for a couple of weeks. I don't know, like I think I wore gloves for a few games, but I wore gloves once for the warm up, never for the game. And then like we won a few games, so you kind of had to keep wearing them, even though it was sunny outside. And then I think we got beat up doing it, but like little things like that, you probably do, like wear a certain pair of trainers if you won the week before or something.
Yeah. Do you have a hobby outside of football? Something you like to do to relax?
Relaxing with my girlfriend or with family. Got a little dog as well, so take it in for a walk. But I think football probably
keeps you busy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What club did you follow growing up?
Celtic.
Okay, Glasgow Celtic. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good team. We talked.
Did you follow a team in England at all?
No,
No.
just Celtic. Yeah, I used to go to the games. My uncles and my grandpa when I was growing up.
Oh, what was it like going to the Celtic Ranger games? That must have been an experience.
Yeah, it was brilliant. And yeah, the atmosphere is amazing. And obviously, probably the best game was the Champions League game against Barcelona when we won 2-1 and Tony Watt scored. The atmosphere that night was crazy. Ears were ringing for the next couple of days.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
And just the other day, the interview we did, Phil, with Aaron Presley, his dad actually played for both.
For both, yeah.
For both, which is, as you would know, Ethan, it's not a common thing, is it?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I know. Been played at Hearts as well. So no, it's not very common. You don't see it much. I think Kenny Miller's done it as well. There's probably a few others as well, but
yeah. Well, we had Mo Johnson over here at Toronto. Yeah, and he played for. Yeah, he did it too. Do you have a favorite takeaway that you and your girlfriend like?
Favorite takeaway. Something to get a takeaway on Saturday night. Do you know, there's a good burger place in Manchester. But that's if we're going out. Yeah, that's good. Burgerism in Manchester. It's like a little shack in Manchester that you can go to.
Okay.
Like that.
Okay. Who's the most the person who's had the most influence in your career?
Probably my grandpa. Yeah, kind of just growing up was always kicking the ball with me. So definitely my grandpa. Used to run me about. Mum, family as well, all different family, all run me about all over the country and always give me the support and always watching every game, whether it's sometimes on the telly because it's down here and they're up the road, but and get down to watch the game. So yeah, my grandpa, but all my family in general, really.
That's a good answer.
So you're a football nut. You're somebody that if you're not playing football, you're watching football.
Yeah. So
love it. I love it. That's why we're here.
One last one for me, and I'm just going to see. Do you know anything? Do you follow any North American sports, Ethan?
Not massively. Doug Farm's trying to get him into the NFL football. He's well into it, but shown videos on the coach a few times, but not massively.
So if I mention the name Packers, do you know where they play or what's their team name?
I'd be struggling.
Obviously, do you have a team that you like at all?
Obviously, love when you watch the documentaries or stories about like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan.
The
Last Dance.
Yeah.
That's popular.
Well. And you look at like the players and talking about them as well, playing against them and stuff. So yeah, Last Dance was obviously a brilliant documentary on Netflix.
Did you watch Sunderland Till I Die?
Sunderland Till I Die.
Yeah, well, one of the questions that we used to have is if you liked The Last Dance or Sunderland Till I Die better.
Probably go Last Dance. Last Dance was brilliant. Last Dance is.
Well, thanks for doing that, Ethan. I appreciate that. Just a bit of a break in the football and some lighthearted stuff. So thanks for doing that. And Phil, back over to you, sir.
Yeah, and that's always fun to kind of get to know a little bit outside of football. But turning things back to football, we do have one more segment on the show.
We do, yeah.
It's called Peter's Corner, and Peter Latham, who of course is the chairman of the Accrington Stanley Supporters Trust, arranges many of these interviews. And what we do is we get a couple questions in from Peter, and that's called Peter's Corner. And Peter's first question for you was he wants to know, what was your biggest takeaway from the Leeds game last weekend in terms of speed, fitness, skill level, or tactics?
Oh, good question. Probably, yeah. Speed. Some bits of skill, speed of play. Some nice little touches that the player had was probably that. But I think we gave a good count ourselves and more than matched them for long periods of the game. But yeah, just last little bit of quality was probably the difference on the day. The last little action, last little pass or finish. The difference, the last little bit of quality.
Yeah, definitely. I think that the speed of the game is something that always comes up a lot. But so Peter's next question was, you're recently mentioned as the angriest player on the team during matches. Has this always been the case? Is this just raw passion? Would you not be as effective without this mindset?
I think it's just your emotions when you play. You're just desperate to win and try and just do everything you can. And you would probably say you're quite calm off the pitch, but yeah, when you play, you try and give everything that you can to try and get a positive result, and just kind of let your emotions go when you play.
You don't have as many yellow cards as Liam Coyle will, do you?
No, got a bit to go. Don't think I'm that far off from though.
All right, just a couple more questions from Peter here, and some of these we've touched on a little bit. He said, was it a big wrench to leave Scotland and go down to Man United, or was it just good to turn down, or just too good to turn down?
Yeah.
I think it was quite gradual, because I first I used to go down to school holidays when I was from when I was 12 and things like that, and then obviously when you move when you're 15, it felt like 15, 16 I was. It kind of was process rather than just like pack your bags and go. So no, it was a gradual process, and obviously the opportunity to go and be part of Man United's academy was too good an opportunity to turn down.
Yeah, absolutely, and his other kind of follow up to that was, and we've also touched on this a bit, that you played in most areas of the UK. He wants to know if you feel most settled in the Northwest.
Yeah, it's probably ever since moving down to Man United, I've kind of been in a similar area. Apart from obviously a year at Peterborough and half a year at Southend. So. Yeah, probably with what it would be up the road in Edinburgh. It would be the Northwest, and it's a nice place to live in, and feels like a home from home in a way. So yeah, definitely.
Well, we sure like having you in Accrington. So Peter just has two more questions here. The second to last is, who do you get on well with among your teammates?
I get on well with everyone. We say this all the time, that the club, I think, is certainly in different changing rooms, but I think I've experienced it most at Accrington, that everyone gets on so well with everyone at the club, and just started to get in the car school with Notts, Ryan, Seb, Matt Lowe, Joe Pritchard. So I started jumping in the car with them. So that's been enjoyable in the morning, just having a chat, and but everyone,
it must be nice to have a lot of guys around the same age on the team too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think everyone gets on so well, and I think you see that on the pitch as well. Everyone's got each other's back and all pulling and pushing in the same direction.
Who buys the coffee for the trips into training sessions?
We all take turns. I'll take turns diving and getting the coffee. So
Good.
we enjoy our little trip in.
All right, the last question here from Peter. He says you pack a tremendous shot with your left foot. He wants to know, have you ever scored with your right foot? And he also wants to know, are you happy with your goal production, or do you feel like you should score more goals?
Yeah, obviously.
I think everybody wants to score more goals.
No, obviously you just.
But about the right foot, to me, that's interesting because you do score a lot with your left. It's that your preferred foot, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's it. Obviously, I use my left foot. It's obviously a preferred foot, but yeah, I feel quite confident shooting off my right. Probably don't use it enough to strike the ball. But yeah, I feel comfortable on my right as well. But yeah, it's obviously left is your favoured, and obviously you just try and chip in with goals when you can. So yeah, so you'd always take the team winning over goals anyway. But it's part of the game that you always try to develop and get your shots away in games.
There's some good stuff.
Peter put you on the spot a little bit.
Yeah, there's some good questions there.
They're good. Enjoyed them.
Yeah. And I just want to just sort of build on that one last one from Peter, if I can, is that talking about a good shot that you have, it's sort of a two-part question. Which is your favorite goal for Stanley? I know mine is the one you did at Fleetwood. And there was two screamers in that same match with you and Harry Pell, and I'm assuming yours was better than Harry's. But which is your favorite goal for Stanley?
Yeah, it's probably that one. The goal at Fleetwood. It was probably the best one. I think any others. You
had that one a couple of weeks ago that towards the end of the match in the later part of the game, you had that one, didn't you?
Yeah, there was Barn. It was quite good. That was enjoyable because obviously the FA Cup and you're trying to get through in the last minute. I think it kind of hit off my shin in a way, but and then obviously Oxford the other week as well. So
yeah,
but you try and get in the box and get your shots away when you can and try and chip in with a few goals for the team.
So it's been a tough season so far with injuries to the team. Have you ever been on a team that has had this many injuries?
Yeah, we've been quite unfortunate this year, and there has been quite a big accumulation of injuries, and you can't really put it down to anything. It's just bad luck at times. But yeah, it's obviously players there. Everyone's fighting that. Whoever's picked, they'll have been picked out on a Saturday that'll give their all for the club, and I think you'd like to think that the fans would see that, and I appreciate that as well. That whoever we pick in the squad, you're getting 100%.
Yeah, it's given a lot of opportunity for other players to come in and players from the academy and that, which is nice to see that they're given a chance. We'll just touch on the league position. I think that's something that we sort of just touch on is that the club's sitting presently in 21st, and I think obviously because of the cup runs, you've got games in hand, especially with the MK Dons. You've got 3 in hand on them, and 2 on Morecambe. Lincoln coming in on Saturday, they're 6 points ahead, but you've got 1 game ahead, or game in hand, I should say. Are we at the stage that Saturday is a must win, or where do you think that you are as a team going into that match?
I think every game we play is almost a must win, or you're desperate to win. I think that's the mindset of everyone at the club, that you go into every game doing your utmost best to win every game. And yeah, obviously the position we find ourselves in, that we're going to have to fight to get ourselves further up the league, and I think everyone is fully on board for that, and know that we're going to have to give everything between now and the end of the season to push up the league. And obviously Saturday's an important match, and one that we're looking forward to.
So February is a really big month coming up with a match just about every Saturday and every Tuesday. As a player, we generally hear that's something that you like is having a busier schedule. You're a footballer, you want to be on the pitch. Is that the case where you like a busy schedule like that?
Yeah, I think the schedules are always the best. You kind of get into a bit of a rhythm, and you just want the games to keep coming and keep coming. I think it works both ways. That if you win a couple of games, it maybe gives you confidence to push on and continue winning. But on the other hand, if you lose a game on a Saturday, you want a game straight away to play on a Tuesday. So everyone enjoys the game and would much rather be playing than training.
Does it make it more difficult to not have as much time to recover, to not have a full week between matches?
Yeah, I think sometimes after the day of the game, you feel a bit stiff, but I think that pain and anything like that kind of goes away as soon as you cross over the white line. You might feel a bit stiff after, or the day before, the couple of days before leading up to the game, but no, I think it's fine. We get looked after anyway, and
once the game starts, that adrenaline gets flowing, and it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, not too much. You're playing games are always the best.
I think the time for recovery is a lot better for Ethan than it is for you or me, Phil.
That's for sure.
We talked about February being a busy month, and John Coleman has said about the home record. If you can win your home matches, you got 4 home matches in February, and a big one coming up is the Bolton match in the semi-final of Papa John's. In terms of atmosphere, are you expecting something similar to what you experienced with the Leeds match?
Yeah, obviously the club's never been to Wembley as well, so it's a massive match and one that we want to go and try and win. Desperate to try and win. So no, it'll be a good occasion, and hopefully we can give a good account of ourselves and progress to the final, which would be amazing for the club.
And we touched on the league position too for Stanley, and I think we're optimistic, and I'm just wondering how the feeling in the changing room with the players. Do you feel that you're on the road, that you can make the difference and survive in League One?
Yeah, definitely. We know when we get it right that we're a really good team in this division, and I don't think the performance has been too bad. It's just we've obviously got a few games in hand as well. So yeah, we know what we've got in the dressing room. We've got great team togetherness and good quality. So yeah, we thoroughly believe that we can start pushing up the league and stay away from the relegation zone. So it's just need to work hard and do it on the pitch.
So speaking of inside the training room, what are your thoughts on the new changing rooms and the improvements to the facilities the club's made?
Yeah, brilliant. You see the direction that the club's going in, and the stadium's looking amazing now, and it's great. And the pitch, the ground's been worked so hard, Ben and Sam. So the pitch is great surface, and it's a great stadium to play at.
We just gone through the transfer window, and I know it's sort of a very hectic time of the year, and 3 players have come in. How important is, especially I guess with injuries, how important is it to bring in some players in the transfer window, and how does it affect the team? Is it a lift, or is it something that is needed to sort of push on?
Yeah, definitely. I think players coming in, it's always positive. It strengthens the squad and strengthens the team. It's all the players that have come in you look forward to playing with. So no, it's always nice when you see a new face coming through the door.
And one last question for me, and I think it's a big question that we're interested in, and I think a lot of Stanley fans are. Yeah, I mean, you're on a 2-year contract which runs out this year. Are we going to see you in the new Macron Stanley shirt next season?
Yeah, I think there's I'm not sure if there's an option here as well with the club as well. So, no, yeah, definitely. I've loved my time at Accrington.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, that's good news for everybody. I wasn't sure about the option, but because I think you get everybody with Joel back, Mitch Clark, and Nottingham, and there is a really good core of talented players with the up and coming youngsters that, bar injuries, you guys can make a difference in this division.
Yeah, definitely, and yeah, like you say, we've got some really good players and a real together squad. So so enjoyable place to be.
Yeah, well, I think it's been it's been an up and down season, but I think you're playing some good football, and you're part of the reason for that, Ethan. And I personally want to thank you for taking time to talk to us today, and we get to know you a little more, and hopefully, I've got my trip planned for next year, so hopefully I'll see you next August and September when I'm over, and see you pitch side and say hello.
Yeah, that's it. That sounds good. So no, look forward to meeting you. So no, thanks for having me on. Yes, enjoyed it. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Tony. So yeah.
Yep.
No, absolutely. I mean, we could not thank you any more for coming on today and chatting with us. And you're just such a big part of the club this year, and we're excited to hear that you plan on coming back next year, because I think one of the things that gets talked about in football a lot is that guy that is the first guy that the manager writes on the lineup card every week. And right now, I feel like you're the first guy that John Coleman is writing on the lineup card every week, and just can't thank you enough for all of your contributions to the team. And we wish you success in your career going forward this season, next season, and wherever it would take you after. Before we wrap up, did you have anything to talk about that we hadn't asked you about?
No, that's been brilliant, and yeah, thanks again for having me on. It's been enjoyable. So no, thanks, and it's our pleasure doing this podcast as well.
It's our pleasure, and we thank you for doing it. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. We like to finish up with an on Stanley on. So if everybody's ready, on 3, 1, 2, 3, on Stanley on.
On Stanley on.
Cheers, Ethan.
Cheers, Ethan.
Cheers.